Think that should work. Think that should work. Oh, hi.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
Nice.
How are you?
Good. Like I said, sorry, I'm never on TikTok, so I didn't know how to do it. I was like, oh my gosh.
Oh, no worries. Thank you for joining.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for inviting me. I'm glad to be here and, just have some fun and talk a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so first I just kind of wanted to ask you, like, what made you start posting reaction videos? Oh, because for anybody who's watching this who doesn't know, this is Blake McLain, and he's a producer, and he has a lot of subscribers on YouTube, which is hard to do, so good job.
Thank
But like tons of reaction videos, and it's cool because it's like producer reacts to the songs, so you kind of get a special insight.
Definitely. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of crazy how it started. I was actually in law school and
Oh,
yeah, for entertainment law up in Nashville. And when COVID hit, I was in North Carolina at my family's condo, and I ended up just staying there, and I had to study for all my finals and do all of those things. And I was like, I didn't have time to do music or anything, and so I was like, I need something quick that I can just kind of do to as an outlet,
yeah.
and I had seen a couple other channels. Actually, Steven and Stereo was one of the ones that I was watching just in my spare time. I was like, I could totally do that. This would be fun. And I could talk
Yeah.
about music and like talk about all the things that I've taught myself and all the things that I've learned through production and music and stuff like that, and kind of give insight into, how music works and why people like what they're listening to. And so I just kind of started doing it. And after a couple days, it just started taking off. And I actually didn't tell a soul about it. I didn't tell my family about it. I didn't tell anyone about it until I hit like 60,000 subscribers. And then I was like, hey, I'm not going back to law school. So yeah, it
Yeah.
was fun.
Wasn't tell anybody about social media either.
It's a good way. Cause then it kind of, keeps you from, I guess, keeping yourself in a box. You know what I mean?
Totally. Yeah, and then do you kind of take other people, like when you decide what you're going to react to, do you do what people comment and what they want, or do you kind of more do what you want? Because I always
Uh,
notice there's that
you
balance
know,
with creating.
yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Um, it kind of varies because
Yeah.
in the very beginning, there were so many albums and so many artists that I just had not done. And so it was like constant requests from, tons and tons and tons of people. And as I've kind of gotten to the point where I've done so many of those albums and I've done so many of those artists, it's like now it's a lot of little sort of spotty, smaller artists here, like little thing here, little thing here, little thing here, And so, I mean, there's a huge list that I have of artists that I still need to do.
Okay.
But I had to sort of take it and be like, okay, so this one's going to be good for the channel. This one's going to be good for Patreon because it's like my living now.
Yeah.
So I got to make sure it kind of stays up and keeps going. So sometimes I'll do things that, I just kind of enjoy, but most of the time if I do something I enjoy, everybody else is like, really? And nobody shows up or nobody watches it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and then also like even making that big leap to be like, oh, I'm not going back to law school. Like this is what I'm doing. Were you were you scared to like tell people that and do
Yeah.
that, or were you just like calm, like this is what I'm doing?
I mean, I was pretty much like, this is what I'm doing, but I was terrified. I mean, my parents have always
Yeah.
been incredibly supportive of me, and all my friends have always been very supportive, but that is a huge, huge leap and a huge change. And so I had to make sure that everything was in place and, that I was being supported okay and everything like that before I actually made that decision. And pretty much like, I felt good about it whenever I did finally go to everybody because I had all of my, T's crossed, I's dotted, that kind of a thing. I was like, this is how it's going to be. It's going to be fine. I promise. And yeah, it all worked out. So
Yeah, like there was a plan. That's always good.
definitely a plan. That's definitely important.
Yeah, and then like does it make you excited to kind of see that audiences do care about the production side and
Yes.
the behind the scenes?
Yeah, and what's so cool about it is I feel like I've gotten so many comments and so many, messages from people that are just like, you've changed the way that I listen to music. Like I never thought about these things
Yeah.
before I watched some of your videos and like, or you reacted to this and you explained this. And so I feel like it's just really cool to be bringing that aspect of music appreciation into people's lives in a way that they can fully understand and apply to every song that they listen to. I mean, that is so fulfilling to me. It's it was a scary thing at first because it's like you have all this knowledge and there's a lot of gatekeeping in the music industry.
Mhm.
So a lot of trying to figure things out on your own because nobody wants to tell you their secrets. And I had a lot of those secrets on my own and I was like, do I want to tell everybody? Like, do I want to just throw this out there? And once I did, honestly, it was the best thing I could have ever done.
Yeah, for sure. And then even like, do you ever find yourself almost trying to figure out, oh, how technical do I go? Like in these reactions, are people gonna get it, or are they just gonna kind of tune out and be like, I don't know what you're talking about, you
Yes,
know?
absolutely. Like I've thought about really diving into like because if okay, for example, for me, I literally have like spreadsheets of songs and I've got them all laid out and like color coded and it's like okay, so here's the chord progression according to like the national number system. Here's like the first note of the verse, here's the first note of the chorus, first note of the pre-chorus like melody wise and how all of those are interacting and why they're doing what they're doing. Like I could dive so deep, but I'm
Yeah.
afraid to do it sometimes because I'm afraid yeah, people either won't get it or it's just going to bore them to death. So
Yeah. Yeah. And then you even end up listening to like full albums, which is awesome. Because I noticed so many people doing reactions to songs, but not that many creators doing full albums. And is it, can you just listen to an album once and then like have something to say, or do you kind of have to, like, can you react on the spot, or do you have to listen to it a couple times?
So most of the time I react to everything on the spot. Every once in a while, like if I'm not sure about an artist, like I will go and listen to like 15 seconds of the song and be like, oh, okay. So it's this kind of style. That way it kind of puts my brain in like the right mode, for it. But generally like everything is 100% on, on the spot. And so I'll just listen straight through and just start picking things out. Because honestly, there's nothing better than listening for the first time to something. In fact, like especially when it's something absolutely amazing. That's something
Yeah.
as a writer, as a musician, as a producer, you don't get to do very often. And there's so much information that you can pull out of that to apply to your own music or, what you're working on at the time. Because it's almost even like it tests your brain a little bit, which is what I pretty much end up doing in the reactions is it's like, I hear it going one way, but they end up taking it another way, or, it kind of does solidify where my thought process was going with it. And again, you don't really get that opportunity with anything else because you're so used to listening to it over and over again, you know?
Yeah.
Does give you kind of a really cool idea of what you could even do with a song. Like a lot of times I'll listen to something and if it is the very first time and I hear it going a different way, like I hear the melody maybe going a different way or, the arrangement going a different way, I'll take that and I'll apply it to whatever I'm writing at the time and be like, oh, this is brand new. This is cool.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, and do you plan on kind of using this uh, big YouTube platform to kind of end up promoting your own music and your own stuff?
I do. I have a lot of plans for what I want to do in the music industry. I really like. There was a reason I went to law school for it all. There's a lot of issues in the music industry, um,
Yeah.
like contractual issues. There's a lot of you know, there's a big money issue right now. There has been for a while ever since streaming came around, and I really want to take it and flip it, and really change the way that things are done. So this is a really good step in that direction, and I can do that through my own music. I can do it through the channel. I can do it through some of the other things that I'm working on even right now. Um, just kind of continue to expand my reach in the actual industry itself, so I can affect everything that I want to.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah,
Thanks.
and then I noticed that, you know, doing a reaction video is almost risky because if you do somebody like BTS, Taylor Swift, and even like Conan Gray, which I saw you did, it's like those fan bases are so die hard. So like get nervous, like, oh my gosh, if I say one bad thing about
Yeah.
BTS, the armies are gonna come in for me and ruin my life, you
Oh yeah.
know?
I get very nervous about it, especially since I had one time where something went completely wrong. And I don't know how long you've watched my channel for, but it was like the most terrifying moment ever. Basically what had happened was I had this brilliant idea to do like some full album reactions while I was driving on a 12-hour drive. And I was like, okay, this would be cool. It'd be like listening to music in the car, that kind of a thing. And I went to go and do. Everybody had been requesting Lana Del Rey, Norman fucking Rockwell, and I was like, okay, I'd never listened to Lana Del Rey before in my entire life, and so based on the way that the album cover looked and all of these things, I was like, this is gonna be perfect for driving. I'm so excited, like I'm gonna be,
Oh,
I thought it was kind of like power pop, that sort of a thing. So I thought it was really gonna get me going, and so I'm in the car and I have my camera in the corner of my car and it's, filming everything as I'm going, as I'm driving down the highway. And I got to the song Venice Bitch, which is like a 9-minute song. And it's very this and stuff like that. And my camera overheated like 6 times and I kept having to pull off on the side of the road and fix it, wait a minute, set it back up and come back in and like get back into the mode and start listening to the song again and get into it. And I ended up having to listen to there's like one little synth solo in it that's like like just really, all over the place. And it's cool for what it is. It's not good for driving, but I was so frustrated by the end of that song that I didn't even realize after I edited it. I was like, this fucking album sucks. I'm over it. I hate it. And then I kind of like went into the next song and I was like, okay, guys, so on to the next song and like happy go lucky, that kind of a thing. Just sort of jump back into that mode. Forgot to edit it out. And it was just so bad what was happening
oh,
on. I was freaking out. People on Twitter were canceling like immediately, and I was like, I got to get this down. Like, I got to do something about this. And to this day, I would love to do Lana Del Rey again, but I really can't because I still have people commenting on like everything I do, just giving me so much for it. But ever since then, it's been a very scary thing with some of the really hardcore fans because you are dealing with people who that is their life. Like they love this artist more than anything, and so you do have to be very careful about what you say about their artist. Like I would never cut an artist down ever.
for sure.
It's their music, it's their passions, what they're doing, and it's all subjective. It's open to interpretation. So even if I don't care for it that much, I'm never going to be like, I hate this, like this is absolutely terrible, unless it really is absolutely terrible. But yeah, it's like walking on eggshells sometimes for sure, and I've messed up more than once. So
Yeah. Like even in lives, if somebody asks me if like and I can tell it's a fan page and they're like, "Do you like so and so?" and I like don't listen to them, I'm just afraid to say I don't listen to them.
I
Cuz they're
know.
gonna be like, "What's wrong with you? You don't listen to them? You're a
Right.
hater." And they could be great. I could be totally missing out. I just have never listened, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And all the time too, people will they'll comment and be like, "So you call yourself a producer, but you've never listened to this?" And I was like, honestly, I really don't listen to music that much. I'm always writing it and recording it and doing that. And so by the time I'm done at the end of the day, I don't want to
Yeah.
listen to music anymore. I'm over it.
Yeah.
And the reactions were actually a really nice way for me to expose myself to brand new music that I had not listened to before. Is it kind of gives me the opportunity to sit down and listen to cool things. So
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I've gone through phases like when making music where I just haven't even listened to other people's music because I get so like scared that if I listen to too much, I'll like accidentally copy it. And so then,
yes.
oh, I don't want to listen to it. And then I'm going to be like subconsciously like singing like them or talking like them or writing like them. So
Yep.
yeah, it's a weird balance.
That is definitely a thing. I've actually noticed like sometimes it's really hard with writing if
Yeah.
I'm in a certain mode with writing. Like right now, I'm writing my band's new album, and we're finishing up recording and everything like that for it. But it's a very specific sound, and I knew that because I love all kinds of music. If I go and I listen to this, or I go and listen to something completely different, I'm gonna be like, oh, I want to do that, and
Oh,
like then start doing it, and again, even subconsciously, it just starts to show its face a little bit.
Yeah, I noticed that. Like what you listen to comes out in what you write. It's
Yeah,
crazy. Yeah.
absolutely,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Yeah. But do you have like any albums that have just been you never listened to them before and from reacting to them they're like now your favorite?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, there have been a lot. Like, honestly, the One Direction stuff hit really hard. Like, I had never listened to any of that, and I did not know what to expect, and that blew my mind. Luke Hemmings' album, honestly, the When Facing the Things We Turn Away From, is probably one of the best albums I've ever heard. I mean, that one I have gone back and listened over and over and over again to. Like, that one had me sitting. My girlfriend at the time came home, and I was like sitting staring at a wall, rethinking my whole life. And I was like, she's like, "What's wrong with you?" And I was like, "Well, I listened to this album and I got, kind of past it. And a couple days later, she comes home again. And I'm sitting staring at the wall again. I was like, I need to rewrite everything I've ever done." And she was like, "Did you listen again?" I go, "Yeah, I did." But, and
Yeah.
then, some of the, K-pop stuff too. Like, I've loved K-pop for a long time.
Oh, cool.
Like, I used to listen to EXO and things like that, like back in the day. And you'll notice, like, I don't do a lot of the older stuff on the channel because I've already heard it. Like, I really loved K-pop, and that stuff affected the way I wrote for a very long time, actually. Um, I mean, I don't even know which ones at the at the moment did, but like, I loved that whole scene. I loved that whole aesthetic. It's kind of like they're having their what was the 80s, you know,
Yeah.
America. They're having it now, and it's so cool to see, and it's amazing to happen.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and then even as an artist, it's like social media is so like divisive in terms of artists of do you use it? Does it dilute the craft? And like you seem to be somebody who's very more on the pro social media side. But like are you as on the pro social media side as you seem? Or even though you post are you kinda like,
I have always sucked at social media. I've
yeah,
never been very good at it. Like, I mean, you know, I just never like. Sometimes I do find it hard to like. Videos are different, the reaction videos are way different. But I've always found it hard to like post on Instagram, or like on Twitter, or say this is what I'm doing right now. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
that's always been a difficult, sort of odd thing for me. But I've
yeah,
got more used to it. I think social media is incredibly, incredibly important for artists, and doing it the right way is absolutely paramount in actually growing as a musician, and growing your audience and everything. Like, you can't do it the way that it used to be done, and
yeah,
a lot of labels and a lot of artists think you have to do it the way it classically has been done, by I'm going to jump on a tour, I'm going to, go and I'm going to, just put out my album and see how people like it, like that kind of a thing. But you have to, grow your presence,
yeah,
first, and people need to be invested in you as a person first anymore because it's so saturated,
for sure. Yeah, I agree. Because even when I first started social media, I felt so weird. Like, I felt so narcissistic.
All
Being
right.
like, care about me. 'Cause it's like,
Yeah.
why people? But, it is very important, for sure.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
when you have good personality too and things like that, like you do, I mean, you know, it becomes really cool because you meet people you never would have met otherwise, and people have somebody that they can relate to as well, and you can relate to them. Like, it's just a really cool symbiotic relationship that you don't really realize exists until you get into that mode.
I love how international it is. Like, I don't know if you've experienced that, but it's so cool to have people in different countries. And it's like meeting people in Brazil,
Yeah.
Philippines. It's like the coolest thing ever. It's like,
Oh,
wow.
it's
Like, I know.
so even like on my street team, I have a street team of girls that help me out with, a bunch of the different things, like a brand, and like what videos we're going to do and what we're going to do here and stuff like that. But there's like one girl, she was in Germany, there's one like the Philippines, there's like a couple in the UK, and like it's just all over the place, and it is the coolest thing ever that it just
Yeah,
brings people together from all over the world.
yeah, for sure. It's awesome. Yeah, and also as an artist, you react to full albums a lot, like singles too. But in your said you're working on your band's new album, do you believe in the power of albums still, like in 2022? Because I know it's divided. A lot of people are like, just do a bunch of singles, just do EPs. Other people, it's like, tell a full album story. Like, where do you kind of lie in that?
I think it has its place, to be honest
Yeah.
with you. And I think there's a balance to be had there. Um, and you just kind of have to, I mean, it really also depends on how you want people to perceive the work and what people are going to actually perceive the work. Like, who's going to listen and what are they listening for? Like, if you're a pop group, and you primarily do pop like hit songs, like hit song, hit song, hit song, singles, that's the way to go. But if you're someone like maybe
Yeah.
like Conan Ray, where everything is sort of intertwined, you're better off, or even like the
Mhm.
weekend, everything is intertwined. It's better to put out the full album, and maybe pick one single from it to give people a taste of it. So I definitely think it has its place. For growth, I think it is definitely difficult to put out a full album right away. I think definitely doing singles helps a lot. But yeah, I mean, it's a very there's a reason it's split. Not really
Yeah,
everyone.
it.
Huh?
I've always been torn about it personally.
Yeah. Well, what are your
Yeah, because
thoughts? Curiosity.
yeah, because it's so fun to make something that feels like a body of work and all
Yeah.
goes. But at the same time, you're just like you want to like just do singles and put stuff out, and
Yeah.
yeah, so
Especially if
it's
you
weird.
like, it takes so long to do an album, and if you finish a single, you're like, oh, this is awesome. I want it out. Like, I want everyone to hear it. And just kind of jump on it. So
Yeah. I'm so bad at the waiting part where you'd have to wait to put the song out. I just want to put it out the next day. Like, how
oh,
do you do? Yeah.
it's such a hard thing. Like, I just finished one yesterday, and it's taking everything. Like, we have a couple of really big surprises planned,
Oh,
um,
cool.
but it's taking everything I have, not to just like stick it out there and show everyone, be like, here it is, come on, let's go.
Yeah, I get on live and I'm like tempted to play it, and I'm like, don't you dare. It's a demo. It's not ready. Do not play it. Don't play it. It's
Don't
hard.
do it, for the love of God. Yeah,
Yeah.
my street team was mad actually, and my band was kind of mad because I sort of leaked the album on Twitch, or the not the album, the EP that we put out. I leaked it on Twitch like the day before the release.
Sounds like
So, yeah, I couldn't take it anymore. I was like so ready.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, but thank you so much for joining me today.
Absolutely, I'm happy to be here, and it's awesome to meet you. Love your
Yeah,
love your TikTok. I was just going through your feed, so
thanks. Yeah, but also like everybody watching or listening, make sure to subscribe to your channel's just your name,
yeah,
Blake, and then follow on TikTok, Blake McLain _1, and then I'm pretty sure your Instagram is Blake McLain _.
yep,
So
you
yeah,
got it.
yeah. Thank you for
Awesome,
joining. Yeah,
absolutely.
hope you
Whenever
have
you
a great night.
finish, send it my way. I'd love to hear it.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, same for you.
Cool, definitely, definitely, we'll do. Stay in touch.
Yeah, for sure. Bye.
All right, see ya.
Thank you.